Morning again, everybody. I'm Harry Smith. We're live in Pella, Iowa on the campus of Central College. Along with Governor Mike Huckabee. And I tell you what, when you wake up on Sunday morning and the Des Moines Register says this, right? And you wake up on Monday morning and your picture is on the cover of USA Today, something's going your way.
Well, there's a new slogan. The best part of waking up is seeing your face on the front page of the paper without a number on your chest, and that's a good thing.
There you go. We were with you this summer, just not so many miles from here, in Indianola. We're in a little park shelter on a hot summer afternoon. Maybe 24 people there. 30 if you stretched it, right?
That included, you know, the kids and everybody else.
Exactly right. No money in the pockets, very low poll numbers. What has transpired from then to now?
I think the people of America have started paying attention to the race. They really are realizing that it's not about waving a checkbook in front of the voters. It's waving some ideas in front of the voters, getting them to understand that electing a president is not electing a person who can just raise money, but who can raise the future of this country, not just for Republicans, but for everybody. This is a very polarized country. People are looking for somebody who is going to lead vertically, not horizontally.
Okay, so much of your support comes from evangelical Christians. That's a big, powerful voting bloc here among the Republicans who really do go to the caucuses. Can a Baptist preacher become president of the United States?
We're going to find out this year. No, I think it's not about being a Baptist preacher. It's about being an effective governor for 10.5 years and a lieutenant governor before that. But having been a pastor, it helped shape me in understanding the real issues that people face, because nobody sees humanity up front and closer than does a pastor. You have a front row seat to every social pathology that's going on in this country. And so you see life from the cradle to the grave, and I think it has helped shape me as a public official, not to be sterile, not to be indifferent, callous, and sort of detached, but very much aware.
You talked about being about polarization in the country and people feeling that. To be pro-life, to be pro-family values, in quotation marks, all of the things that would catapult you to the success that you've had so far, those in the end can be very polarizing issues in a general election.
But they don't have to be. Unfortunately, a lot of times the pro-life issue has been seen as anti-abortion. It's not that for me. It's about the affirmation that every life has intrinsic worth and value. So it's not saying I'm against something. I'm for looking at every person, regardless of his or her IQ, his or her economic status, and saying, as a human being, they're important.
But your opponents are going to say he's going to get more justices on the Supreme Court. They're going to strike down Roe v. Wade. That's got to be part of his engine. We're sure it is.
There'll always be the critics. You can't answer every critic. If you do, that's all you'll spend your time doing. And one of the things that I think people are responding to in my campaign, they're not seeing me go around bashing the other candidates. I think people are so sick of that. What they want to know is, what would I do for America, not what I would do to the other candidates. This whole sort of taking the hammer against the kneecaps of my opponent type philosophy, I believe, has been counterproductive for my opponents. It seems like the harder they hit me, the better my numbers get. So what I would say is, hit me again.
Let's talk about the record as governor in Arkansas, because your opponents are starting to say, well, he's not a real Republican, because real Republicans cut taxes.
Which I did.
Physically conservative. They'll say you raise taxes there. You're a tax raiser, not a tax cutter.
You know, in the 10.5 years I was governor, the state and local tax burden, according to the U.S. Department of Chamber of Commerce, went up all of 1.1%. Income tax was the same as it was. There was a 1 penny difference in the sales tax, but we also improved education, which is a good thing, partly because of Supreme Court order. But they forget to tell you that we cut taxes 94 times. We eliminated the marriage penalty. We cut the taxes for the lowest income earners. The tax policies we did helped the people at the bottom reach the next rung on the ladder, and that's the kind of real tax policy the country's looking for to help working people.
All right, let's go beyond Arkansas then. Let's talk about the world.
Yes.
People watch Mike Huckabee. He's funny on the debates. He was great on the YouTube debate. He's great with a one-liner. No one knows what your feeling is about the war in Iraq.
Well, I've been pretty clear that the surge is working. We need to make sure that we finish this mission, and we finish it with honor. There's two reasons why. If we don't succeed in Iraq, someone takes in that vacuum, and it won't be people who like us. That's not a good thing. The beachhead that will be established for terrorism is something we can't live with. We also would demoralize our military, Harry, and it would take a generation to rebuild that. I've been over there, and I'm telling you, the guys who are there believe and know they're getting a job done and doing it right. A lot of mistakes made. We all acknowledge it.
Right.
But the biggest mistake now would be to just leave before we have finished the job that we went there to do.
The current occupant of the White House is a former governor. He sought advice from some people who, I suppose over the last 4 years, some folks would say did not give him very good advice. Who would you look to for advice? You're a governor from Arkansas. Yeah. What's your foreign policy team? Who are you gonna rely on?
Well, other than Harry Smith, I'll put together a really good group of people. You know, sometimes that's the question. Gosh, he's been a governor, but so was Bill Clinton. So was Ronald Reagan. And if you think back, Ronald Reagan went into office with this big rap against him. He didn't know anything about foreign policy. He was an actor. He was he was a governor. What could he possibly do? Within 10 years, there wasn't a Cold War. The Berlin Wall was down, and there wasn't a Soviet Union.
Right.
I'd say he had a pretty good record. And you know why? It's because he had principles. He had convictions. He knew that America had to be strong. We had to have a strong military because peace is not achieved by being weak. It's achieved by being strong and having the kind of military that nobody out there wants to engage in a battle.
Speaking of Russia, Russia is back. Vladimir Putin just got the election he wanted. I mean, we're looking at an evil empire 2.0, potentially.
The biggest threat that we face is our own enslavement to foreign oil. One of the first things that I want to do as president is to accelerate our pace to become energy independent, because if you want to know why we're so afraid of what's going on in Iran, their capacity to build a nuclear reactor is based on oil money.
Right.
What if they had to finance that reactor by selling rugs? They couldn't do it.
Last question very quickly. I read someplace that you read from the book of Proverbs every morning. Do you remember? What did you read this morning?
Well, I will read it later, but chapter 3, verses 5 through 6, trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not into your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths.
There you go. You have a lot of undecided voters here. We'll find out later if it had any influence or any effect. Governor, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. There you go. Let's go back to New York now. Here's Russ.